Thank you, band. Whoa. Wow. Look at this crowd out here, guys. Wow, this is great. Hey, I like what we did. Where have all of you been? You say, I've been right here. Hey, you're making history today. We're going to a new service time this summer. And we don't get any makeovers. I said that to the team earlier this morning. If I make a mistake, I can always correct it in the second service. Can't do that now. Hey, welcome to Daybreak. We're glad that you're here. And if you like that song right there, I've requested, this is for me, so bring your earplugs. Father's Day, I want it to rip in here. I told him, I said, just do one service for me. And do it long and do as much of it as you want. And these are the songs I want. We have a lot of worship. We do a lot of worship. We do. But on Father's Day, it's going to be a little different. So I just want to prepare you. And then I'm going to do a little mini sermon, the most important sermon I have ever done in 32 years. So that's all on Father's Day. A little mini sermon, but the most important one I've ever done in 32 years. So get the guys out here because they're going to absolutely love what's going to happen in the music. It will be awesome. Now, next week, I'm going to continue this Drop the Mic. By the way, Don't Drop the Mic is the title of our series, but Drop the Mic comes out of a rap. I won't tell you where. And, it's sort of the conclusion of things. But in another way, it's not. And that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to continue to talk about next Sunday. And we started a couple of weeks ago. Jeff actually started it, and we're just going to continue to pick it up here. Don't drop the mic. You have an important responsibility not to drop the mic. And you'll see as we get deeper into this today. And then on the 27th, it's going to be more of a production. It will be more of, how can I say this? Leave your watches at home, turn your phone off, and enjoy the service, because it's going to be a lot. We're cramming like 2 services to 1, and we got a lot of people coming, and a lot of these are people who've made big impacts on my life. People like John Gordon, remember him, who has now written about 15 books since then, but he's going to be here. He's now one of the number 1 motivator speakers in the world. And he was really just getting started the first time he came here to Daybreak. He had just gotten saved, and I went to O'Hare to pick him up because he couldn't get into the airport here because of the snowstorm. And so on the way, I find out he's a Christian. I didn't even know he was a Christian. I just had read his book, and I was impacted by it. And so I said, well, John, why don't you just go ahead and preach? Make this your first time you've ever preached. And you remember, some of you were here that first time, and he did. He's like one of the most sought-after speakers for NFL and NBA and all of those locker rooms. He's going to be with us. Terry Wachowski. This is one of my hiking friends from formerly Vice President General Motors. He's going to be here. But I could go through a whole list. Our World Party. The lady came from Disney to help us put on World Party. She's going to be here. And it's just going to be a glorious day. I really believe that. And we have some surprises. I've been told, Wes, there's going to be some surprises for you. We're not going to tell you about them because they don't know what I do sometimes when they tell them. I don't like to be surprised. So that's going to happen. And then we're just going to gorge out on pizza down in the student building and salad. And Claudia and I are celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary with you. So Claudia's, are you baking the cake or is this? Really? You are? I didn't know this. You've already started on it. Will it be fresh that day? It won't be too fresh, but you started on it. Yeah, man, I didn't know that, Claudia. Yeah. You said you lie?
No, I did.
Oh. Oh, you're going to buy the cake. Buy the cake. Where are you going to buy it? It's a secret. Okay. She's making me very nervous right now. Well, welcome today. We're glad you're here. Those that are watching online, welcome to Daybreak. You're in for an awesome summer. Some of the things that Jeff Eckert has planned are really cool, and you don't want to miss out. Okay, so I'm going to pick back up on where we were in 2 Kings in chapter 2, and we're going to begin with verse 9. When they came to the other side, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me what I can do for you before I'm taken away." So, Jeff, tell me what I can do for you before they take me away. Weird. And Elisha replied, "Well, please let me inherit a double share of your spirit and become your successor." So Jeff is becoming the successor. I'm walking out of the room. He said, "You have asked a very difficult thing," Elijah replied. "If you see me when I'm taken from you, then you will get your request. But if not, then you won't." So he lays it down and he says, this is the way this is going to work. So Elijah asked Elijah's successor to be Elijah's successor. So he wanted to continue Elijah's work. And God decides whether to bless or not. Let me just say this. God has blessed these 32 years way beyond anything that Claudia and I ever dreamed of. We didn't know. When we started Daybreak, we didn't know what would happen. We set it up for 100 chairs, and we didn't know what would happen. We didn't know if this church would take off or not. We just didn't know. You don't know. But God decides to bless. And I think God is prepared a foundation now to bless way beyond anything that we know anything about. I feel that. I feel that he has raised up a successor here to come in, build on the foundation, and Jeff is going to take it to a whole nother level. I have no doubt about that. Now, a lot of you are just now getting acquainted with Jeff. And the temptation, I'm going to talk more about this, how to treat the new pastor. I'll do that next week. I'm saving that stuff toward the very end of my time up here. But let me just say this. Jeff is not going to do it the way Wes does things. Wes doesn't do it the way Jeff does things. We're different human beings, thank God. So there will be a temptation to make those comparisons, but it's important that we get that out of the way. This is now Elisha. Elisha comes into the picture, and God begins to bless him. Jeff has a national platform that you guys are going to become very aware of and be very involved with. This community does not know yet what they are inheriting as the successor. They don't. We think we do. We've heard a few things about Jeff. And we think, oh, we really know Jeff. We've heard him up here for 2 years, speak at least, once in every series. But we really don't know him yet. This guy is now an international leader. He's going to be your pastor. And it's going to be vital that you get behind him. And I want to just say here, the nicest compliment you could give to Claudia and myself is to get behind Jeff and Ariana. I really mean that. That is the nicest compliment that you could give. Unless you're a complainer, a fault finder, or a critiquer, or whatever. But I'm serious. I'm serious. That is the greatest compliment you could give Claudia and myself. Jeff, we're getting behind you, man. We're going to support you. We're going to pray for you. Now, I'll get more into that next week. So God decides whether to bless or not. God grants Elisha his request because his motives were pure. He didn't have any ill motives like puff me up. Jeff doesn't have that. Jeff doesn't have that. I've known him long enough. My dad has known him since he was a teenager, since his dad was a teenager. These are not those kind of people. And here we have Elisha. He wasn't that kind. He wasn't on some sort of an ego trip. He simply wanted to accomplish what? More for God. More for God. And so God takes Elijah, and Elijah is gone. Elisha is now the new leader. And so here's the story I started with you the other week, and I want to pick it back up here. One day, the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you guys, he's dead now. And you know, he feared the Lord, and now a creditor has come." So this creditor has come. He's threatened to take the 2 sons as slaves. And this is often, if you didn't pay your debts, they'd come and take a family member from you. How would you like that? Some of you are going, "I'd like that." So Elisha asked, "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" And nothing at all except this little flask of olive oil. And Elisha says, "Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to borrow," notice he says borrow, "as many empty jars as you can from your friends and your neighbors. Go out, get as many jars as you can. Go to your neighbors, get as many of these as you can." And he said, "Then I want you to go into your house with your kids, your sons. I want you to shut the door behind you. And I want you to pour olive oil," which we started last week. We poured 10 quarts of olive oil. 10 quarts last week. So she did. Her sons kept bringing these jars to her, and she filled one after another. And soon every container was full to the brim. "Bring me another jar," she said to one of her sons. "Well, there aren't any more," he told her. And then the olive oil it stopped. And when she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, "Now I want you to sell the olive oil and go pay off your debts. Take this, and what's left over is yours. So that's what I want you to do. Go pay all your debts. You'll get to keep your boys, and you'll have a little left over." So my observations. Number 1, the oil stopped when the container stopped. The oil stopped when the container stopped. You're going to have so much to do with Jeff's ministry. This is really in your hands. When you stop bringing your friends, when you stop inviting friends, when you stop inviting your neighbors, when you stop praying, and it comes down just to you, after a while you'll go, "I'm bored. I'm out of here. I'm going to go look for another church to get a new pump." That's what happens. In fact, by the way, a survey was just done, and almost all church growth right now are people jumping from one church to the next. And they're doing it by the hundreds now from coast to coast, all over America. All over America. No real church growth. It's just disgruntled Christians moving from one church to the next church to the next church. And whatever the church is of the day, that one is filling up. I remember my friend Rob Bell when he was at Mars Hill down the street. Boy, honestly, I can confess things now because I'm almost gone. It bugged me. I called Rob up and I said, "Rob, I need to meet you, man. We've lost 100 of our people, and a lot of the 100 were faithful givers." And so we met downtown and we had a wonderful talk, but I felt the Holy Spirit say, "Wes, you need to say something to Rob, like ask him his forgiveness for your attitude." And so I finally mustered up a little courage toward the end. I said, "Rob, I got to apologize." He's like, "What for, man?" I said, I don't know, but I think I've been jealous. I've just been jealous. I've heard all these thousands of people that are coming to your church, and among them are people that were faithful to Daybreak, and we lost them. I want you to forgive me. I want you to forgive me. Rob said, "Oh, man, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, man." And so we went on and we had a great lunch and continued a great relationship. So the oil stopped when containers stopped. When you stop bringing an empty container, you stop bringing your friends, you stop praying, you stop serving, you stop giving, let me tell you what happens. The door shuts. The door shuts. And not much more happens. Just kind of stays empty. A lot of churches are empty now. So the deal is in your lap. Jeff is ready. We know that. Jeff is ready. And by the way, they're going to have their first Never the Same camp beginning, I believe, next week. It is a sellout all over the country. South Carolina, Oklahoma, Indiana. They've gone over 1,000. Parents are saying, get our kids out of the house. They're kind of like shocked, though. They had to cut it off. So God is doing great things. But it's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you to show up, to give, to serve. Those three components here, like, yeah, bring the neighbor, bring yourself, bring your offering, bring your serving attitude, and I will bless. I will fill you with this olive oil. So God's provision was at large as their faith and their obedience. These jars illustrated God's miracle working power. You know the cool thing about one service, I can go as long as I want. Wow. And since I'm sort of like toward the end of my tenure here, I can just like plead forgiveness maybe in July or August. Here we go. So I'm picking it up. We went through 10 jars, the first 10 years of Daybreak, and now we're going to jump into the next one. So here we go. Jar number 11, 2001. We broke for the first time, having 1,500 people here in a service. Wow, we broke. That was big for us. I mean, we just like couldn't believe it. And some of you see these pictures up here. Oh, I forgot about that one. We had the $1 Million Man. Nick Jennison, are you here? Where's Nick? Nick, stand up. I want you to see Nick. Nick, what happened to you when the million... Boy, Nick, hey, no. Good thing you showed up today. Hey, what happened when the $1 Million Man showed up? He gave his life to Christ that day. You're saying, what happened to the guy in the center? Claudia, do I still have those leather pants? Let's see if they still work. And then over here, I'm jumping ahead here, 9/11. We went to New York City. Dave Deal, where's Dave? Dave took this picture. Dave got on this fire truck because they liked Dave. And we became a partner with one of the ladder companies there. We started giving and sharing and counseling. And this church, you guys did a great thing. And so what happened here? God filled the jar up in that year. And 172 people were saved during that year. Amazing. So jar number 12 here, 2002. 74 students attended our very first Never the Same camp in Houghton, New York. Now this was remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. I think we got some pictures again. I love these. Get that picture off there. So I know some of you think that's a Daybreak stage, but that's Houghton, New York, Houghton College. And good-looking guys, right? Good-looking guys over here. See my little son there? He's now out in San Francisco. So that year, we had 136 salvations. God, again, he says, bring me the empty jar. Bring me the empty jar. I'll fill it. You got to bring the empty jar. You got to bring yourself. You got to bring your unsaved neighbors. You got to bring your offering. You got to bring your serving attitude. If you'll do that, I'll fill it up. You get it? Are you with me on this? That's what he's trying to teach. Elijah's trying to teach something here. Very, very important. Jar number 13. Is Chris Decker in the house? I'm just going to go down the list today and call LP. Where is Chris? Chris, come on up here. Come on up here. In 2003, we started our missions program. We adopted Mambo, Zambia. This is nothing but trouble right here coming.
My mayor's suit?
Oh, that's Swift. Why don't you walk out here so they can see?
Oh, I thought you were sending me
No,
off.
no. I'm not sitting, Where'd you get the shoes?
Oh, those are... Yeah.
Converses. I had a pair of those in 1968. Whoa, those are cool. And the pants? Whoa, man, styling. Styling. This lady right here started our missions program. She walked away from a great career at Spectrum Hospital. "21 years of service here at Daybreak." Amazing. I get so inspired when I see you and Mark. Mark is back there. Mark. Bless Mark. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. He's got every reason to be at home today in the comforts of his own house. But no, he's got a lot of challenges. And here he is today at church. I have no room for people making excuses not to be in church. Oh, settle down, Wes. This is about you. You remember Mambo?
Oh, Mambo.
It was a mess, folks. It was a mess. This young lady went in there with a team, and they built a piggery. They overhauled the schools. They built latrines. Nice word for bathrooms. And God did some great things. I want to present this to you on behalf of the elder board in this church. Appreciation Award, 21 years of service, Chris Decker. There you go, sister. You're great.
Love you.
I love you too. Those are really cool pants. Very cool. Mark, do you like those pants? Yeah. So let's see what else. Oh, here I got invited to go to Baghdad, Iraq. And we have two very special people today in our church. One's on our staff, Joe and Joy. And this forever changed my life going there. I remember getting to preach one Sunday in Saddam's main palace. He had about 100 palaces, but this was his main one. And in front of me were generals and all kinds of very important people. And I just got to preach the Bible that day. And some great things happened. This church right here provided the empty jar. And I just shot olive oil all over my hand. So I hope I have enough here today. So here we go. We just got one service. So that one needs a little more in there. Here we go. Oh, there we go. It bothers me if they're not the same. You didn't know that about me. So that year, you guys brought the empty jar. You made it possible. You paid the bill. You provided the volunteers. And that year, 225 people gave their lives to Christ because of you. Because of you. Jar number 14, 2004. This is something, I look back, I still can't believe it. Where's Mark Courtney? Mark, where are you? I've never seen you on the front row till today. How did that happen? Oh, Mark. This guy, I'm telling you, I can't, you're going to think I'm exaggerating. What in the world? This sounds like a casket. Okay, so here's what's happening. We got a brainchild one day and said, let's do a creative conference for smaller churches that can't go to the big mega churches, can't afford it, and it's overwhelming. Let's do something here. We didn't know what was about to happen. There were people and pastors from 15 different states. That first year there were 390 people that filled this room. Mark Courtney was the guy who was the genius by it. But the other thing I want to, Clay, go ahead and talk a little bit here. You can't see all of it.
What do you want me to do?
Just love on Mark. You guys can't see all of this.
Okay, I'm going to talk because he said I could. So, Mark, how many years have you been here?
28.
That is amazing. Mark and I have worked together those 28 years in productions, Sunday morning anything creative. I'm not creative. He is. And so one little story kind of reminds me of this jacket I have on. He would order, what's it called?
Muslin?
Yes. He would order this muslin.
Good thing she didn't, not Muslim.
No, I didn't say that. I said, Wesley, turn around and look at the audience. And so, anyway, he would order this. This is way back. And we would cover this whole wall with this art design. He would order the material. We would put plastic down out here and lay that whole thing out. And then we would paint it. And I got so excited, I thought, I'm going to help Mark paint. And so he had a team already, and they would come in and we during the evenings, and we would paint on what we would hang up back here. And so I started painting, and the next night I showed up, and he said, oh, Claudia, he says, I've got this section right here, this corner down here, and you see where I've marked it off. That's for you. In other words, we don't need your kind of creativity.
Mark always had a way of...
Yes. He didn't offend me at all. Well, maybe a little.
Later,
No.
when you realized he was trying to
I
get you
just
out of the
want
room.
to tell you, this is a man of God. Mm-hmm. He has sacrificed his life. Mm-hmm. He could have gone, I'm not
Anywhere.
making this up, anywhere. And I know certain dudes were calling him. And he gave his life to this church.
Yeah.
And what I love so much about... That's it. Get that back.
Whoa.
Yes.
Whoa. Is your mom watching right now?
I wrote him. I did.
Oh, you let her know?
Yeah, I let her and Shane know.
So, Shane knows
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
His family's watching. Hi, family.
Hey, Shane. Hey, Marla.
Out
and
in
so,
Idaho.
What was I going to say? Oh, my gosh. What was I going to say, Mark?
I don't know.
Oh, this is not good.
Okay. This is...
What you love most about Mark?
Okay, what I love most about Mark. We worked together, and we had our rough times and our good times, but we knew what we needed to do. And what I respect about Mark so much is that when Wes would get some creative, crazy idea like dressing in leather, and
You
all
liked
this-
it.
Just one, I did,
You did,
and
you
just
liked it.
one thing after another, Mark would make these things happen for
Oh,
Wes all the time.
Yeah.
And I just admire that so much in him. I could go on forever, but I'm not. I love you.
Let me tell you. Some people ask me, "Where did you find Mark?" one of the Billy Graham people. I called him one day, and this is a guy who was up there on stage when Billy Graham. He was a guy who was at one of the keyboards and worked with Billy Graham many years. I called him, and I said, "John," I said, "I want the best guy to help us build a creative church." He said, "Well, I know the guy. He's been at Moody. In fact, he's been one of the big guys there at Moody over in Chicago. But I don't think you can get him." That's all I needed to hear. So I called Mark, and Mark, did we meet at the Rainbow Grill? Where was it?
Oh yeah, we took him to the Rainbow Grill with the phones.
We wanted to take him to a...
You know, when you move from the South, you don't see phones in restaurants, and so.
This had phones.
And he was so impressed.
That it had
no,
phones.
he was.
He couldn't get over the
that
phone
was
idea.
the
That was
winning thing
something
that
like new
caused
to
him to come to Daybreak.
I want you to hear this, though. Mark, I would give some ideas, but Mark created 310 series. 310 series. Now, what is a series? These are all my messages right here. And they're in these boxes. I'm not going to get them all out, but they're like this. Like this. All the series. And there's a series in each one of these. Box. I saw this one today. Can you see that one? That one really excited me. I got to pull that one back out and see what I said. Mark would take basically what I was kind of thinking, and then he would put legs to it, like nobody's business. Everybody in the country wanted this guy. And he's already committed to Jeff Eckert. He said, "Jeff, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. I don't know if he wants us or not, but I know he wants you. 32 Christmas productions, 32, 10 Broadway-style productions, 47 highway billboards. Our second convert, Sandy Hill, came to the service because he saw a billboard. And we've been doing it ever since. 91 people were saved in 2004. Mark, this is an appreciation. 28 years. Mark Courtney, love you. You're a great man. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Love that guy. Take him out to dinner. Along with his whole family that's watching in Lewiston, Idaho right now. Jar number 15. Did I fill a jar up for that one? I don't think I did I? I don't know where I'm at on this, but I'm going to do this. There we go. He says, bring me the empty jar. I'll fill it. Jar number 15. Jar number 15. 175 daybreakers served Katrina. You remember the hurricane? 175 of you went over a period of a year. Is Walt and Linda Grzybowski here? Where? Raise your hand. Good thing you guys showed up today. Walt gave their travel trailer to the Katrina team, and apparently it's still down there in some RV court. I don't know, did you ever collect it or not, Walt? It's still down there. It's probably dissolved by now. 175 of you. 175. You brought your empty jar. God began to fill it. He began to fill it in a spectacular way. We had a Sunday here. We needed help. And $93,000 in cash showed up here on a Sunday. We just called it a miracle Sunday. That year, 193 salvations. Jar number 16 in 2006. Walk the Line has been one of my favorite all time. I think we got a picture of it up here. Yeah, there it is. What we did, we laid down 2 tons of real gravel and real ties, and we built it off of the Johnny Cash book, Walk the Line. And the first Sunday, I thought, let's just try and see if anybody's here that wants to walk the line and give their life to Christ. And there was one teenage kid that stepped out. And I still can hear that gravel crack. And then there was another one, then another one. By the time we got finished with that, there were well over 140. I've got it here, 142 salvations that year. Where's Chris Larrabee? Is Chris here? Is she in the house? Oh, she's at work. Chris, would you come up here? The other Chris. There's 2 great Chris's. Actually, there's 3. Whew, that was close. Man, it's getting hot up here. Come on up here, Chris. How many cups of coffee have you served? She didn't know that I was going to do this, so she had no idea. They had a hard time getting her out of that Norm's Cafe down in the studio. Love that man. Margaret's here today, right? Margaret, where are you? There's Margaret. Margaret Lamb. She is a heroine. Is that the right word? Heroine? Hero. What's a female hero? Heroine, right? You guys thought I was talking about drugs. Golly, what is wrong with these people? So, this lady has been a missionary. Every week, she comes in here on Friday or Saturday when nobody's here, prepares the lounge, gets it ready, gets all the food ready, and Sunday morning, She did it this morning. She brought me a bagel and hot chocolate. I'm going to miss that. I don't know. Could you talk to Claudia just a little bit? How many cups of coffee? Just give me a crazy.
At least 10,000.
10,000 cups of coffee. That's amazing to me. And I know you have been able to bless people, and you've been able to talk to people, you've been able to encourage, and you got a great team. 17 years doing this, folks. Bless you. You're an angel. Bless you. Watch this step. Then the student building. We opened the student building. That's an amazing tool. We still have teams that come in here from all over the country, and they want to study the student building. They said this is what, I still hear it. They said this is one of the most spectacular student buildings we've ever seen. And it has served us so well. Literally hundreds, if not thousands of teenagers. You guys made this possible. You opened up your checkbooks. You made it happen. You brought the jar right here. And God says, by the way, it's paid off. It's paid off. And I mean even financially, it's paid off. The empty jar, he says, I'll fill it. You guys got to bring it. And I'll fill it. I'll fill it. Jar number, okay. Oh, I forgot to mention 140 some salvations that year. Jar number 17, 2007. Jar number 17, 2007. We broke on the weekend over 2,000 people. That was big, man. That was big to have over 2,000 people. Just amazing. God says, let me do it. You guys keep bringing people. I'll keep saving. We had 172 salvations that year. Jar number 18. Jar number 18. Over 2,000 people attended Luminaire. Remember Luminaire? Look at that. This is one of Mark Courtney's productions, along with his team. Fabulous. People came in here from the arts world and they said, where did you get this? He's setting up there. And his team. This made a humongous impact on people. But you guys made it happen. You brought the empty jar. You brought your friends. And you paid for it. People started coming to this church. You heard the lead testimony today. You heard it. He came here. His friend kept bugging him. Come with me to daybreak. He came to the show. God got a hold of his life. He gets saved. I get to baptize him. This jar. Bring the empty jar. He says, I'll just keep filling them. If you guys will keep bringing them, I'll keep filling them. Now, you can decide to come by yourself. You can decide cut your giving in half. You could decide, I'm not all that excited about the new guy. I really like Wes and Claudia. I got used to them. You know what happens? The door is shut. The door is shut. You shut it. You shut it. It's going to be up to you to keep the door open, keep going to the neighbors, keep bringing the empty jars. Look at this, jar number 18, 2008, 2,000 attended Luminaire. We had the spectacular that year, 216 salvations. What do we got going on here? I hadn't seen this one. Well, is that Chris, the children's pastor? Is that the director of ministries? What's wrong with the, is that Griffo? Oh my, okay. 2009, jar number 19. We had a great year. We celebrated our 20th anniversary. We got Rich DeVos to come. That is no easy feat. Lots of people. He came. He preached. I remember he called me at the house one day and talked my ear off. I said, Mr. DeVos, I'm too busy to talk to you. No, I didn't say that. I listened to him for 45 minutes. He said, I want you to tell me about your church. I said, Mr. DeVos, I said, the thing that I really want you to communicate is how you came to know Jesus personally. And when he came in here and came up on this stage, he talked right out of his heart how he got saved. You remember? And this was one of the last times in a church that he preached, that he spoke, was right here. We were honored by that. We were honored by that. You provided the stage. You paid for the stage. We even tried to pay him since he didn't have much money. He didn't know what was in the envelope. I hate inviting people and not give them anything. And so we gave him something in an envelope, and his driver, they're driving around, and he stops the vehicle, and he sees Claudia. Claudia, come here. He said, I'm not taking this. Oh, no, Wes wants you to have it. No, I'm not taking this. You put it toward a ministry that needs help. That was his attitude. That was his attitude. That was the year we decided to go downtown to the new Grand Valley Student Campus, and we started a church. That Sunday we had 226 people that showed up. Now, we had a challenge there. We had a big challenge. We had a big challenge financially. And we realized we were not getting the financial support that we were counting on. And we had to shorten the life, sad to say. I wish we could have kept it going. I would say there we got the jar. We got the jar, but it was like, we didn't get really what we needed to get. But do you know a lot of this band came from that band? Right, Steve? Guys like Jim Shaneberger, and we could just go through the list. Now Jim is down in Nashville. He's coming home, by the way, June the 27th. He's going to be on this stage. He's going to be back on this stage. He wants to be here. Okay, 178 salvations that year. 178. Jar number 20. I got to keep moving here. Jar number 20. Do I have like till 12? So he said, bring me the empty jar. Guys, bring me the empty jar. Bring yourself. Be a servant. Don't come as a spectator. When Jeff finally takes his stage, July the 4th, you bring your body and say, Jeff, I mean this. You either email him or come up to him after a service and say, Jeff, I'm ready. I'm ready to serve. Open the checkbook. It takes people and it takes money. And it's important, those two things, the empty jar with the oil in it. So we had that big earthquake in Haiti. Daybreak went down, helped them out. That year was huge. We had 395 salvations. Spring Hill Camps contacted us and they said, hey, we're starting something new. What's that? We're going to actually start Spring Hills on church campuses. Would you guys like to be one of the first ones? Oh, yeah, we like to be the first. We didn't know what we were getting into. I'm going with my son tomorrow up to Everett to Spring Hill Camp. My son is on their board, and he actually invited his dad to go with him. So I'm excited about it. And Chad loves Spring Hill Camps. He's a product. He grew up at Spring Hill. I think he did. Spring Hill Camps, they launched here at Daybreak with 180 kids. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. We opened the lounge. 1,300 guests came through our lounge in 2011. That year, 296 salvations. Whew. I'm going to have to stop this. Jar number 22. Brian Headwelch. How in the world did we get him? Mark, how did we get him? Brian comes on this stage. I remember interviewing him, and most humble guy. Fell in love with Jesus. Still loves Jesus. And Todd Burpo, you remember Todd? This place was packed during a blizzard. And then Ron Jeremy. He's not one of our better converts. He's not at the Waffle House anymore. He's at the where? He's at the big house, Mark said. Not good. John Kitna played quarterback for that team that wins every year. I still can hear John's story. I was seated right there, and he starts talking about his promiscuous life. You remember this? And I was just shocked. His wife was right here. And he just started talking about what a sinner he had lived. And he said, yeah, Jesus loved me. And Jesus came into my heart. And he gave an invitation that Sunday. That year, there were 459 salvations. I forgot to mention here, you guys gave 350 new coats, 220 new pairs of boots, 600 new books, donated to Godfrey Lee Schools. Absolutely amazing. And then Jar 23, over 3,322 of you attended the Christmas production. Amazing, absolutely amazing. It's coming out about right. Okay. Daybreak painted 22 classrooms in one day at Godfrey Lee Schools. I remember being there that day. What a day. 67 families in this church joined in the Adopt a Family program. Many of you helped serve Sandy Hook School. Dave Branson, where are you? Didn't you drive the van of teddy bears out there? Was that you? See, I don't forget stuff like that. Some people think, boy, you're forgetful. I don't forget stuff like that. Those little kids that lost their lives, this church reached out to that school way out east and said, we love you. You know, I don't believe God just takes that lightly. You guys have been the most generous, the most giving, the most serving, the most willing to do whatever it takes. You see these jars that were once empty? He starts filling them up. And he says, I have more. I have more. That year, there were 459 salvations. From 1989 to 2013, we'll stop here. A total of 23 jars, empty jars. A total decisions up until 2013, 3,815. My wife is on different boards around the country, different times. They don't usually ask me. They usually ask her. They know she's the smarter one of the two of us. And she's on some really cool boards. And she gets privileged to hear information that many times I don't get to hear. But one of the things she came home and shared with me from a national board meeting that she was involved in. She said, Wes, the churches, and not just our denomination, it's basically all churches. Over half of the churches in America did not have a single person come to know Christ last year. Not one. And the other half, it might have been 2 or 3. Not in any sense the numbers we're talking about. And we're very careful about the numbers here. And they're not just numbers, these are people. There's a guy that you've read his books. His name is Henry Blackaby, and I had a conversation with him one day, and I said, Henry? No, I said, Dr. Blackaby. I said, a lot of the people that find Christ at daybreak, we don't see anymore. He looked at me and he said, what's wrong with that? Well, I thought something was wrong with that. He said, no. If they're going back to childhood churches and going other places and now they're saved and they know Jesus and they're going places to serve Jesus, you need to be applauding that. You need to be clapping your hands. You need to be giving them the send-off and saying, that's good. I never saw it that way in my life. I thought we should try to keep everybody. He said, no. Most churches, he said, do that. They try to close all the doors. He said, I applaud daybreak. Don't close those 16 doors you've got out there. Send them out. One of them is my son, who I was with last Sunday, who got saved on our clock here at daybreak. And today, He's doing everything that he can. He took me around his community last week and said, Dad, all the schools are closed now. They're not going to open schools in California anymore to churches. They're permanently closed to churches, even after COVID. And he said, but Dad, let me take you to a couple of places. And one was an old warehouse. And I just thought inside, I didn't let him know, but I just thought, not a pretty place. But he said, Dad, I want to see everybody saved that I can possibly tell them about Jesus. And we had the most wonderful conversation. He came out of your life, your life, your life. Derek Barman today is in Nashville, Tennessee. He's probably preaching right now. He grew up in this church. He finds Jesus. Where's his dad? Good thing you're here today, Mark. I know Mark is so proud of his family and so proud of Derek. But I remember Derek as a teenager growing up in our youth ministry, and now he's pastoring a tremendous church, doing tremendous work. You guys are providing the empty jars. Don't get over that. I just come to church, that's all I do. I just put in a little money each week. I don't really do much. I was looking at the trees here the other day, and how beautiful they are around the bases. There was a volunteer who came in here, their own money, and put that around all the trees the other day. And I just thought to myself, this is one of the busiest men I know. How do you have time to do this? Because he loves this place. He loves this place. You love this place. It's his church. He says, just bring me the empty jar. That's you. Bring your neighbor. And this is key. Just like the testimony at the beginning of the service, you bring them with you. You bring them with you. You keep inviting them. They say it takes 10 invites to get one. Don't come by yourself. Jeff will soon be walking up on this stage, and he's waiting for you to bring the empty jar. Elisha says, go out into the community, collect all the empty jars you can find, bring them in here. In faith, I will start watching God through the Holy Spirit fill them up. Salvations happen in a church where there's this kind of a spirit. This could all change overnight. I don't believe it's going to. It will happen when you decide, I get it, Wes. Don't drop the mic. Lord Jesus, right now, thank you for this day. Thank you for your great church. This is your church. And as we get ready to hand it over to Elisha Jeff Eckert, I pray everyone in this auditorium and online right now listening will realize their own individual responsibility. If there be a person listening today that doesn't know you, may they just cry out right now, Jesus, save me. Save me. It's that simple. Come into my heart, come into my life. We thank you, Lord. We pray for Jeff and Ariana that you will bless them way beyond as they get ready to head to a new camp here in a few days. Over 1,000 students, many of them coming from Daybreak. We pray that there will be a revival that will break out. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, you're getting out early. Those that come to second service, you're getting out really early. Thank you for coming today. God bless you.